What's going on, people? How you doing today? Thank you so much for tuning into Millionaire Mindset. I really, truly appreciate your support. Now, in this video, I'm about to reveal to you how to decode the universe and to find your soul's mission. Because a lot of the times, people, maybe even you, do not know what their purpose is. They're stuck. Now, when it comes to life, you have to observe what is repeating in your life. What are you doing over and over again? This could be something simply as getting up, going to work, coming home, go to sleep. And that keeps repeating over and over again. So now it's time for you to put something else in that loop. Now you have to start doing things like getting up, working out, go to work, come home, go to sleep. Getting up, working out, doing a YouTube video or something, go to work, come home, and go to sleep. See, now you're starting to put different things into that loop. You're starting to change the trajectory of your life, especially when you are consistent at doing this. Anything that you do consistent, you will see success out of it, whether it's good or bad. So you have to observe this pattern of something that keeps repeating as a spiritual message, and the universe letting you know to change this pattern in your life. Now, also, you want to observe what keeps calling you, even after you have ignored it, or something that you may have walked away from, something that keeps calling you back. That happened to me. 2023 is when I started actually making these videos on YouTube, and I quit. I stopped in 2020, at the end of 2023. I felt like it wasn't the right path for me, right? And then something kept calling me back. And I came back and I love it. I loved it at first, but I love it even more now. So you have to pay attention to something in your life that's similar to that or something like that, that just keeps calling you and calling you, especially when it has to do with you becoming successful, getting to the next level, stepping your game up. You truly want to pay attention to this, because that is the universe letting you know that this is something that you're supposed to be doing. Even if it's not your soul's mission, it is going to be in that path. Any purpose that you fulfill is going to ultimately lead to your destiny. You have to understand this. So you also want to try to interpret your curiosity like it's a code from the universe, like the universe is just sending you instructions on what to do next. Your curiosity, especially when it comes to something being successful, something that's like getting you to that next level, you have to explore your curiosity. This isn't just some kind of random thought in your mind. And when I speak on curiosity, it's something that you continuously think about. You're curious on how it would be if you started a restaurant. You're curious on how it would be to be a content creator. And this is something that you keep thinking about over and over and over again. You have to know that this is always going to be a message from the universe. Anytime God wants to send you a message, God is going to send it through your imagination, through your thoughts, through your curiosity. You understand? That's where God starts first. And if you ignore that, God will think of other different routes to send you this information. Now, I'm telling you, if you're curious about something, right now is the time. There's no perfect time. There's never a perfect time. There's never a perfect moment. And anything that you start out doing, it's not going to be perfect. You understand? But it will become perfect over time. And you'll understand the time that you started was the perfect time. So your curiosity is very, very serious. You have to interpret that as a message from the universe. You understand? Now, you have to notice symbols that appear repeatedly all the time, right? Throughout your day, you keep seeing the same symbol over and over again, whether it's repeating numbers, whether it's a lion, whether it's a bird, you keep seeing these same images over and over again, these same symbols, these same synchronicities. You have to pay attention to these signs and symbols, especially where you are, your state of mind, what you were thinking about, or what you're thinking about every time you see these symbols. You understand? Because a lot of the times when, let's just say you're thinking about wealth, the universe will reflect a synchronicity back in your life that resembles wealth. You'll start seeing 777. You thinking about being wealthy and all of that. That's a vibration and a frequency that you're on. So the universe will send you 777 And lions and birds all have their own symbolic meaning. You see a eagle, pictures of eagles everywhere. And this isn't, you know that it's not a coincidence because you're seeing it way too much, right? You're seeing an eagle over here, a picture of an eagle over there, a picture of an eagle over here. You're like, man, I'm just seeing eagles. And then you happen to look up, even an eagle flying over your head. This means that you are flying high, that you are about to be successful. Great things are about to happen in your life. Your career is about to soar high, so you just have to pay attention to all the symbolic different symbols that appear in your path, in your life every single day, just way too much. That is you decoding the universe and finding your soul's mission. And it's important for you to always know what you were thinking about when you see these repeating numbers or just symbols. You have to pay attention to that. Now, also, you want to pay attention to your dreams that keep returning. The same dream happening over and over again. You keep on dreaming and you're like, why do I keep having this same dream? There's always going to be a meaning in that dream. That's why I tell you, it's very important for you to have a dream journal sometimes. You don't want to be so obsessed with writing down every single dream, even though that is a great thing to do, but sometimes you don't have time. Sometimes you might want to get up and visualize yourself buying a new house or visualize yourself winning the lottery. Sometimes you just got to get up and go straight to work. You understand? I understand you're not going to be able to write in your dream journey all the time, but your dreams that repeat over and over again, it's going to have spiritual instructions on what to do next, what you're about to do. And sometimes your dreams are going to include downloads. You understand? A lot of the times we get downloads while we're dreaming, and which will also give you inspired action. You'll find yourself wanting to do something like starting a hair salon or, starting a store or a business, a trucking business, or becoming a content creator, making videos on YouTube. You just get different downloads throughout your dreams. So that is another way to decode the universe and find your soul's mission, is to find out why you keep having the same recurring dream over and over again. It's very important. Now, you also want to pay attention to the advice that you give others, because a lot of the times when something that you're supposed to be doing, the advice will come out of your mouth, because a lot of the times we see different aspects in people, which also are the same reflections of us. It's like you're giving advice to an aspect of them that is also you. You're giving advice to consciousness, which is you, right? So you have to pay attention to the advice that you're giving people, because that's where your multi-million-dollar ideas are going to come from, baby. That's where they're going to come from, right out of your own mouth. Don't ignore your own advice, because that is another way to decode the universe and find your soul's mission, baby. Now, you want to study what you don't like about others, because, like I said, when you don't like something about somebody, you are also looking at another aspect of yourself. So now it's time for you to wonder, what do I have to change about myself? Why don't I like this person? Because that's something that you need to change about yourself. The universe will always reflect aspects of yourself through other people. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like other people are almost a mirror of you, just like you are a mirror to somebody else. Like, let's just say you are a person that gets up, you go to the gym, you run, you work out, and let's just say you go to work. Everybody can see that you're healthy. And the other people in there that don't work out, that don't think about their health, it makes them look at their self and say, damn, I need to work out. I need to get myself together like them. You understand? Mirrors. We're mirrors to one another. So when it's something that you see in somebody else that you don't like, try looking at yourself first before you do any judgments, right? That's another way to decode the universe. And also, you have to think about the different synchronicities that you go through before and after decisions. Let's just say you decided to say, you know what? I have the inspired action. I'm gonna start a business today. Today I'm gonna go downtown and I'm gonna go get the the S corp. I'm gonna get everything started. I'm gonna get my tax ID number. I'm gonna get the business name, right? And when you walk out of the place, you start seeing 1111s everywhere. You start seeing 222s, and then you also get into an elevator or whatever to the next building or wherever you're going, or wherever you are on a bus, cab, it doesn't matter. You all of a sudden bump into a person that can can help you with your business, that wants to give you information to help you get off the ground. That's a synchronistic moment. You have to pay attention to all of these different synchronicities that are going on in your life, because I'm letting you know that is the universe's language. Repeating numbers, meaningful connections. That's how the universe speaks to you. You understand? So you have to just know, you know what? I'm going to start being more aware, because the more you are aware of synchronicities, the more they start to happen in your life. You have to pay attention to this, because I'm telling you, there are so many multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires that started from nothing, but synchronicities, meaningful connections, led them to the moments where they're just wealthy. Synchronistic moments will lead you to a big lottery win. I know that I heard a story about this lady. She went to the grocery store, right? And she bought all of her groceries, and she was about to leave. She was on her way out, and she looked up, and the lottery was up to 747 million. It didn't mean anything to her at first, but then she walked a little bit more, and she saw a poster, an advertisement with a jet, and it said 747 jet. Then she said, you know what? She went back up in that joint. She went back up in there and she played that ticket, and she won 747 million. That's a synchronistic moment. That's a synchronicity. A lot of the times this will happen in people's lives, and they ignore it, and they miss their chance. They miss their opportunity. The universe is always trying to make things happen in your life, to bring wealth in your life, if that's what you desire to have. But if you miss these synchronistic moments, you're not decoding the universe. The universe will always conspire to get you everything that you desire. You understand? So that is truly decoding the universe, and finding your soul's mission is not ignoring synchronicities or synchronistic moments, signs and symbols that you see everywhere. You understand? Now, another way to decode the universe right now and find your soul's mission: ask the universe a question. And just like synchronicities, wait for the sign, because the universe will always answer that question, always. And it's going to come to you through signs, or maybe you'll just be going in somewhere and somebody will give you the exact information that you were looking for. You might even overhear a conversation that somebody else is having with somebody else that is pertaining to what you need, that knowledge, that information. So ask the universe a question, the universe shall answer. You understand? This is how you decode the universe and find your soul's mission, because every step that you take in that direction is going to lead to your soul's mission. Your soul had a mission before you even came to this earth, right? Now, just like waking up from a dream, we have amnesia. We remember bits and pieces of things, but we don't remember everything. That's why throughout life, you remember bits and pieces, like you go through moments of deja vu. You go through moments where you meet somebody, you feel like you've known this person for years. You understand? It's like you're remembering. A lot of the things that we go through in life, and when we step up and get to the next level in life, we remember things, even though it may not seem like it, but we're spending a life and we're remembering that we had a soul mission before we got here. You understand? That's why you're watching videos like this, because your soul is ready for this mission. It's time for you to get on that mission. Now, also, you want to decode delays. When you're delayed in life about anything, let's just say you try to get this business off the ground and it just didn't happen right now, right? There is a reason. For one, you're being protected. This is a protection synchronicity. Maybe you might have started this business and maybe you wanted to get somebody involved, right? So the universe will figure out all the ways to make you say, you know what? I'm cool right now. I don't need a business partner. I'm just going to start this business and get it off the ground next year. You understand? And that is how the universe will protect you through synchronicities like that. And a lot of the times when you do go through delays in life, you have to really reflect on yourself and ask yourself, what do I need to change about myself that will make this happen? Because nothing happens outside of you. Everything happens in you first. It happens within you. So anything or any delays or any problems that you may have, you just have to reflect and figure out what you need to change about yourself so that everything in the outer world will start not to be delayed, especially when it comes to your business. If it comes to that big lottery jackpot win, you didn't win this time because there's something you need to change within yourself that will make this win happen in your life, right? That's decoding the universe. That is finding your soul's mission. Now, you also want to decode what makes you feel alive. It's just as simple as somebody who their soul's purpose is, let's just say, making YouTube videos. And the first time they made a video, it just felt, wow, that was amazing. I like that. That is something that makes you feel alive. Or you go to the studio, you record a song and you hear your song and you're just sitting back feeling so amazed. You're just like, oh, yes. Your soul feels alive. You write a book. You read your own book. You see the cover of your book with your face on the inside or wherever it's at, your name on there. It makes you feel alive. You have to analyze that, because anything that makes you feel so alive like that, it's like this is your soul's territory. And like I said, you're only remembering right now. You're remembering your soul's contract. So when you come to a situation where something just makes you feel so alive, that is the route that you're supposed to be taking right now. Even if it doesn't last forever, it's a stepping stone to get to the next place in your life. That's all it is. Pay attention to what makes you feel, woo, that's it. I like that. I like that. Now, also, decoding the universe and finding your soul's mission, you want to study your imagination, because your visions are like blueprints of what you need to do next. Your imagination is the essence of creation. I mean, everything. Look at all this. God created all this. Imagination. This jacket I got on, these glasses, it all started in somebody's imagination first. The imagination isn't something that's just some kind of fantasy. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking it'll never happen. I'm telling you, anything that you decide to do in life, anything and everything and where you're at right now, it has always started in the imagination. So study your imagination. Find out what visions have been put into your imagination from the universe. And that is a breadcrumb that's leading you to the moment when you're going to find your soul's mission. The universe is always going to continue to leave out breadcrumbs. And it's up to you. It's up to you to follow those breadcrumbs and become the greatest version of yourself and find your soul's mission, baby. Now, also, you have to study what feels more like destiny and not just desire. Because a lot of the times, we desire things. We want to do this. We want to do that, right? But it just doesn't feel like it's your destiny. Now, when you start doing something and it feels more like this is my purpose, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, that is what you need to pay attention to, because that is leading you to your purpose and it's leading to your soul's mission. You're fulfilling your soul's contract. You understand? Now, this is very, very important. You have to pay attention to that. Now, also, you want to observe the moments that feel like you're guided, right? It's almost like the moment you just feel like something else made you get up and go start this business today, or something made you get up and go play that lottery ticket today. It's like you're being guided by like your higher self, by the universe, or maybe even your future self. It's just like a moment that you feel like you're guided. So you have to pay attention to that, because those are moments that you are guided. Maybe you are being guided by your future self right now. So you have to pay attention to those moments, because that is also an indicator that you are fulfilling your soul's mission right now. And also, you want to decode resistance. You have to figure out of what's going on in your life that is protecting you or something that you fear. You know, you have to know the difference, because when it comes to resistance, you know, that is always going to be put in place. We all have resistance. We all have fears. So you just have to figure out and decode the difference between the two, because at the end of the day, you can never let fear guide you, because fear is only going to keep you in the same place. It's going to keep you stuck in that loop, and you'll never want to step out of your comfort zone if you let fear guide you. Fear will hold you back. It'll keep you in the same place, you know, and you have to figure out, what are you resisting that you feel like you want to be protected from? You understand? So you just have to analyze those two, and that's how you decode the universe and find your soul's mission. Now, also, you want to analyze the versions that you are choosing to be, right? So there are so many different versions of yourself that you can become right now today. You could become the version of yourself that doesn't watch these kind of videos. You could become the version of yourself that never tried to start that business. You could become the version of yourself that didn't play that lottery ticket and never won. Or you can analyze a version of yourself that steps, you know, become the version that you're becoming, that steps out of their comfort zone, that listens to their inner wisdom, their inner guidance, that listens to their intuition. You know, you have to analyze which version of yourself that you're becoming, because that version of yourself is the one that you need to look at. If it's a version of yourself that you're becoming better every day, or are you becoming a worse version of yourself every day? You know, the universe isn't going to lie to you. Reality is not going to lie to you. You know, you have to analyze things that's going on in your life, analyze your surroundings, analyze your environment, find out about the people that you're attracting in your life. Because if you're attracting people that reflect you in some kind of aspect, you know, this person is a very great person, they're very spiritual, they're always manifesting, you're attracting that kind of person. You know, you're becoming that version, because like attracts like. When you become a better version of yourself, you're going to attract other spiritual people, better people that are also becoming better versions of themselves, you know. But if you find yourself attracting negative people in your life, you know, people that aren't good for you, you know, you have to analyze this, because sometimes you're attracting aspects of yourself, or sometimes you are just attracting life lessons, because sometimes God wants to put somebody in your life that may lie to you, that may cheat on you, that may steal from you, that may talk about you behind your back, that just may do things that are not so good for you. You know, sometimes God will put people like that in your life just to teach you a lesson so you can grow. You understand? So you want to pay attention to the version of yourself that you're becoming, and you want to pay attention to the people in your life that you're attracting. Now, I just wanted to make this video real quick to let you know that you are definitely becoming close. You are coming closer to your soul's mission, and you are definitely getting closer and better at decoding these messages from the universe right now, because the universe is always conspiring to give you whatever you desire. That's what the universe is doing. Now, thank you so much for tuning into Millionaire Mindset, where everything happens in divine time by divine design. But you are the divine design. I'm sending all this good energy to you right now. You deserve it. You deserve wealth. You deserve abundance. You deserve love. You deserve peace, right? Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment on this video. I truly appreciate your support, and don't forget to hype me up. Thank you. Until the next video, peace.